Okay, so on this one, this is f of x, which is the same as y. So I'll write it down here. Y equals 3x squared minus 19x minus 40. Okay, and they're first off, they're asking for the vertex. How do you find the vertex? Well, we use the magic formula. X is negative b over 2a. So that'll find the x value for the vertex. So and what are A, B, and C? A is the 3, B is the minus 19, and C is the minus 40. It's you peel off the numbers in front of x squared x and no x at the back. So we get negative b. Now notice b is also itself negative, right? Over 2 times a. And what is a? 3. But notice the double negative, right? We have the negative in the formula, negative b over 2a, and then we have b itself being, in this case, also negative, negative 19. So what do we get there? Double negative is positive, 19 over 6. You can just, you can give them a fraction or decimal. Decimals are probably easier. Well, yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to just give them a decimal. 19 over 6. I don't know what that is. Let me see. It's 3 and 1/6. So what is 1/6? Here, let me do that real quick. I don't have a calculator handy. 0. It's going to go in 1 time. And then it's going to go in 6 times. Yeah, so it's still there. It's 3.1 and 6 is forever. Okay, so it's going to be 3.1. 6 is forever. So there's your x value, 3.1. You can just type in a few of those. Or you could put in the 19 over 6. It'll take the fraction or the decimal. Just put in enough decimals like that. Like that. So let me make sure I'm right on that 1.0. 4 and then 0. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, that's right. Okay, I did that right. So now, so you can choose your calculator. And now that's the x. Now, how do you get the y? You plug it in, huh? Plug in x equals 3.1666 forever to get y. So now, so let me encourage you, just use about 4 decimals. You'll be safe. Use 4. I'll just go there. 4 decimals will be enough. Like that. Plug in that to find y. So I bring down the equation here. Y equals 3. I'm going to plug in 3.1666 squared minus 19 times 3.1666 minus 40. So just plug that in. Just plug that decimal in. Hit the buttons on your calculator. So let's calculate. So I'm going to hit the buttons on my calculator here. Calculate these numbers. And I'm getting negative 70.0833. Again, 4 decimals is enough. Like that. I've got the y value. So next, they want me to find the x-intercept. So how am I going to find the x-intercept? Come on down here. So to find the x-intercept, you plug in y is 0. So to find intercepts, you always plug in the opposite letter is 0. So I'm going to take the original equation again. Y equals, and bring down here, 3x squared minus 19x minus 40. And I'm going to plug in y equals 0. So now I'm going to grab this 0 right here and boom, right there, right? Plug in y equals 0. What do you do the other side? Going to have to factor it. Remember the factoring stuff we learned to do? So it's a little refresher. It might be a little painful. These were never easy. Remember, it's you're doing multiply, add, multiply. It's also like FOIL, F-O-I-L. So we're saying, let me bring this down a little bit. Front times front to make front. Remember that whole thing? Plugged in 0 for y. So I'm going to go, okay. So here we go. So front times front to make 3x squared. That'd be 3x and x. Remember, these are the kind you got to put in the numbers and you got to check. And then last times last to make 40. What multiplies to be 40? What multiplies to equal 40? If you're not sure, take your calculator. It'd be 4 times 10, 5 times 8, 2 times 20. They all multiply to be 40, don't they? You get a lot of possibilities. How do you know which one you should try first? Well, I don't know. Usually it's the pair closest together. Not always, but see how 5 and 8 are only 3 apart from each other? Whereas 4 and 10 are 6 apart, aren't they? So the pair closest together is the 5 and the 8. It's usually the pair closest together. So I'm going to try the 5 and the 8. Now if that doesn't work, I'll go back and do the 4 and the 10. But it's probably the 5 and the 8. It's usually the pair closest together. It could be any of those, but it's probably the 5 and 8. Now, which order? Well, what if I put the 8 here and the 5 there? Does the order matter? Yes, because somebody's with a 3x and somebody's with a plain x. It's going to matter. This is actually the wrong order, what I've got right now. Let me show you how I know. Because you check it. Now, notice I don't have any pluses or minuses yet, right? I'll do that later. I've got to check it right now. So if you check this, remember how to check it? First to both, second to both. What are you going to get? 3x squared, 15x, 8x, and 40. Remember how to check? It's coming back. You do first to both, second to both. Now, the hard part is the two middle, right? The front is making the front and the back's making the back. 3x squared in the front, 40 in the back. That's all good. But the tricky part's the middle, huh? The middle, these two have to somehow make minus 19. How can a 15 and an 8 add or subtract to be 19 or minus 19? No way. No way. They add to be 20 something. They subtract to be something like 7. No way they're going to make 19, negative 19. No way. No way, no way, no way. Which means this is the wrong order. Switch it up. Try it in the other order. Put the 5 first, then the 8. How do I know? I checked it. You just got to check it. There's no getting around it. You have to check it and then switch the order, check it again. Now, this might not work. It turns out it will work. But if this didn't work, then I would go on and try the 4 and the 10 next. And try that in both orders, right? That's why these are tedious. You just got to keep trying things until it works. This will work. So 3x squared, 24x, right? The first one goes to both. And then the 5 goes to both, right? 5x and 40. Okay. Can these middle two make the middle term of minus 19? Yeah. How do the signs go? Remember the golden rule. The sign in the middle goes on the bigger number. You write that, right? Sign in the middle, right up here. Sign in the middle, right there, that sign that's in the middle goes on the bigger number. So it goes on that 24, doesn't it? And then the other one's plus. You can check it on your calculator. Minus 24 plus 5 is indeed minus 19. We've got it. It's working. So now how do the signs go back to the parentheses? Do you remember? I got to put them in the parentheses in the end, don't I? Remember this? A good review of that factoring chapter we had. Remember what do they do to go back to the parentheses? Crisscross. Remember the minus goes there. And the plus goes there. Remember they go back crisscross to the parentheses. And so now, and we've got it factored. correctly. So this is just a check. Don't let this confuse you. This is just the check, right? Maybe I'll put a big parenthesis around this. That was just checking. Now let's go back to the problem and solve it. What do? We set each one equal to 0 separately. So we take this first one and we say, okay, 3x plus 5 is 0. Then we take the second one and go, okay, x minus 8 is 0, 4 in the middle, right? Because that's the logic. If two things are timesing to equal 0, the first one could be 0 or the second one, right? Two things multiply to be 0, either one could be 0, right? And then you just solve from there. So now we say, okay, subtract 5 from both sides, boom. So 3x is minus 5 divided by 3. So there's one answer here. Add 8 to both sides, boom. 8. So we got our two answers. Now, what do they want from us on this one? They want the largest x-intercept they want the large one. So that's going to be 8, positive 8. So the larger one is 8. And then finally, as if it's not enough work, they want the y-intercept. How do we find the y-intercept? I'm just going to do it right here. You plug in x equals 0. Remember, intercepts, you always plug in opposite letter 0 to find an x-intercept. You plug in y0 to find a y-intercept. You plug in x0. So if you plug in x0, look at this. 0, 0, gonzo, gonzo. What does y equal? -4. It's just this last number, huh? Because if you plug in x0, both the x terms are 0. They're gone. They drop out. And so it's just y, right? F of x is y. Y equals -40. And so there we go.